Hi, so today I'm working on finishing up a painting that I've been working on. I've just painted the negative spaces in here, and then I'm going to paint some glazes here, just like I did there, let it dry, and then I'll paint the negative spaces in here. So I'll start here first so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the photograph, and it looks like there is blue and then a warmer green on top. So I'm going to wet the area with my brush, a very fully loaded brush. And I'm just going to wet this entire area. It's a little bit wet, so I'm just going to dab just a smidgy. I don't normally dab with a paper towel, but every once in a while you have to do it. So I'm going to lay a warm green here, and I'm just going to let this paint flow. I'm not going to think about stems or anything like that. I'm just going to let the paint kind of do whatever it wants to do. And of course you can see I have my paper angled at about a 45-degree angle on a paper towel roll. There's a big blob of water running down there, so I am going to grab that. I'm going to bring some cerulean blue into my green because I want a cooler blue down here at the bottom, and with as few strokes as possible. I'm just going to connect the paint here and let it flow. A lot of times I'll turn paper upside down. If it's flowing too much in one direction, then I probably want it to flow in the other direction. There's a little bit of purple here bouncing. I love to let the colors mix on the paper. I'm sure you're seeing it right now. I like what happens when I just let the paint do what it wants to do. It's relaxing, it's fun. You can see the little granules of paint just start to intermingle and mix in it. It's really a beautiful thing. And to me, sort of the essence of watercolor painting. So let me get my paper roll straight, my paper towel roll. This is quite dark under here. Look at that beautiful granulation there going on, the movement of the paint. Just really a beautiful thing. There's certain colors that do that really nicely. One of them is cobalt blue, some of the violets, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. I just love when that happens. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I am probably going to put just a little bit more green up here. And then I'm just going to let those colors kind of do their own thing. While I work on the negative spaces over here. So I'm just going to let that sort of move. It's the very same thing that I did here. I wet this whole area and treated it like a unit, and after it dried, I put in these dark areas, and these dark areas are what's called negative painting. Before this just looked like a large greenish area, and it was the negative painting that really divided that up into real stalks and stems. I'm going to turn this around one more time. You know, you can knock your paper, make it move. I know that we all want to control the watercolor paint, but it's really best if you just let it move and do its thing. That's when watercolor painting is at its most beautiful. So now I'm going to go to a smaller brush. I want to get areas in here, get the parts of this leaf darker, get any negative colors that I might have missed. So I'm loading up a smaller brush now, and I'm just going to come in and start painting leaves. I can paint wet on dry here and just paint. What I'm doing is sort of trying to leave a vein look right there. If this bleeds into the other leaf, good. I'm happy about it. That's all wonderful. I don't mind that at all. I'm going to change the color just ever so slightly as I come up into the other leaves. There's another leaf right here. And this is the kind of work that is a little bit trickier because you don't want to get too tight, and you don't want to get too studied here. That would not be good. So this is drying. I had already worked on that area. These are quite green, so I'm going to do a third glaze there on top of these. Can you see the difference? Darker green, darker green. You do have to let these areas that you're painting on again, they have to be really, really dry. If you paint on an area that is even slightly damp, and it may not even look damp to you, you will create mud. So always be patient. It's good to take long, elegant brush strokes so that you're not too picky or too studied with what you're doing. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow in. Again, I have my paint diluted like milk, and I need to do a little bit of work up here on these leaves. So this leaf is on the back here. Don't often blot, but what I did was I just touched the corner of my paper towel there to kind of pick that up. This is a little too hard edged, so I'm just putting a little bit of green in there to soften the edge. Softening, connecting. Over here, this is quite dark. So this leaf is very dark in value, and I do want the vein though to show. So I'm painting around it. And then I will leave that vein to show in there. That's a really beautiful area. I do have to let that dry. Meanwhile, I can go ahead and come in and start painting some of these dark areas that are the holes in a colander. They should be a darker value. I want to vary the color a little bit. I'll go from red, maybe a little redder in some areas, a little greener in some areas, depending on what is around. You know, if I paint every one of these the same color and value, again, it'll just be so boring and not really very realistic. Even the holes in the colander, the light changes depending on what's around it. Like obviously there's a radish here, and then there are green leaves here. Also, things that are off to the side would be influencing what's going on. So you want to kind of change your colors, and if you are having trouble seeing different colors, if everything just looks the same to you, try squinting when you look at the photograph. Now, these are all kind of the same color there, just like I'm talking about, so I'm gonna blot a couple of these so they have a little bit of a different value. I want all of them to be somewhat different. Again, they just can't all be the same.